Welcome, welcome. We are live again. It is Justin. It is 30 with Karen and Justin. I got to get the name right. We've just come up with this new name and I'm still working on it. Appreciate you joining us today. We've got a great guest. Joining us today is Liz Jonasson, founder of Absolute Home Services and the owner of Mountain Emo Sales and Service. She's here to share a little bit about how she helps homeowners across the GTA and Muskoka. That's fun with renovations and landscaping and the strategy she uses to make every project smooth, efficient, and stress free. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Amazing. Thank you. So, I mean, the home services industry is a pretty wide berth industry. There's a lot that can be involved in it. I guess, at what point were you kind of going through life and you went, I'm going to get into that type of industry? Because there's a lot of stress. There's a lot of things I think that come along with it. A
For sure.
lot of what ifs. What was it that kind of put you in a position to be like, yeah, I'm going to do this? Did you have a history of it in your family or what was going on there?
Definitely not. No history in my family of entrepreneurship or my parents hired everybody to do things for themselves, so I didn't
Mm,
learn much from them, but learned many other great skills from them, that's for sure.
that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually in university at Western, and I was in school for engineering when I first fell into it. And I was a painter for College Pro Painters.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so yeah, it was just my summer job, and one summer I did it for a few summers painting through high school, and then when I was in university, they said, "Hey, why don't you run the franchise for the
Oh,
Muskoka area, actually?"
mm,
And I never thought about business. I never thought that was something I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be an engineer, and I actually have seven brothers and sisters, and many of them are bankers and business guys. And I thought that sounds really boring. So business never seemed too interesting to me. But I thought, hey, I need a summer job. I need to make some money. So why don't I try running this student franchise for College Pro Muskoka? And I did it, and I loved it. I loved driving around in my truck, meeting customers. Had a bunch of university students working for me. We had a lot of fun. And I went back to school, and I remember being at Western Engineering and sitting in class thinking, this is so boring. Like, this is not interesting at all. Like, what am I even doing here? And then thinking that I'd have to do that for the rest of my life terrified me.
mm,
Um, but I was pretty committed to finishing my degree. So I did finish my engineering degree at Western, where I met my husband, who's an engineer and who loves engineering. So you just realize that some people are meant to be engineers and some people aren't. And I learned that in university. And then College Pro said, hey, why don't you become a general manager? And general managers teach other students how to run their own businesses.
mm.
So I actually went straight from university working for College Pro for 10 years, and I worked up my ranks to the vice president where I was learned like how to lead a pretty large size business across kind of Canada. I just loved it. I loved everything about it. And then I left College Pro and worked for Paul Davis, which was a restoration
Mhm.
company, so similar into home services, dealing with floods and fires. And that's where the spark of saying, "Hey, I think I want to run my own business." And I'd been working, as a full-time employee for both those companies for about 12 years, and I realized that home services, no matter what type of service you're doing, is the same. It doesn't matter if you're doing landscaping or painting or handyman services. You need to show up on time, provide an accurate quote, do great work, and communicate well. And I realized that once somebody found somebody to do something on their home, they wanted them to do many things on their home. So I thought, why don't we get a business where you can, hire the company and they can do everything. And so I started it out in Burlington right away, just as a painting company, knowing that I'd grow services, but
Mm.
knowing that I could, like, I've been in painting for so long, I knew I could do great work, I could make some money and build a good client base, and then start selling additional services. And then soon, even in the first year, I went straight to Muskoka because I'd had so much experience there too, and I was like, the houses are bigger, there's more paintable substrate. So actually, right from the beginning, I was doing Burlington and Muskoka for painting.
Mm.
And then the second year, I thought landscaping would be great because you're cutting people's lawns every single week. And so your trucks are in the neighborhood and you're just building that brand, getting those customers to like you. And so I started landscaping really quickly and it blew my brains. There's landscaping is a massive industry and there's so much
Yes.
to be done.
Yes.
And so we were lawn cutting, we were gardening, we were sodding, we were fertilizing, and we got into landscape construction. So I stuck with painting and landscaping for about 6 years. And then people kept asking, "Oh, you're doing this great work. Can you do some handyman services?"
Mm.
And I thought even handyman seems even more complicated than landscaping because
It's
what's
so
hand
open-ended.
yeah,
There's not like one thing. It's so many
correct.
things.
Yeah. And landscaping, I thought there was a lot. Handyman, it's like plumbing and electrical and
Yes.
all these things. But
Drywall's a big one, I'm sure.
drywall, yeah. And
Yeesh.
but the customers were demanding it. There was like the people needed this service, and if we were going to call ourselves Absolute Home Services, we better be Absolute Home Services. And so I took all the lessons I learned from painting and landscaping and applied them. So, we show up on time, we give accurate quotes, we stick to what we say, we communicate well, and we do great work. And then it really flourished from there. So now we kind of separated out the divisions. So we have, people that just paint, people who just landscape, and people just do handyman and deck and fence work. We do a lot of that as well. And we're doing it from basically Hamilton to Toronto and still in Muskoka as well. So that's how I got into it.
It's there seems to be a common theme here, and I literally had a conversation with someone 2 hours ago about this exact thing. In that the service industry is full of very talented people that are good at their individual thing. So, the painter that's unbelievable at painter and can cut the edge perfectly and just knows the way to do things, and that comes over time and all these things, but they're really good at that, but they're really terrible at customer service. You understand what I'm saying? Like
100%.
they are leveraging their skill in an incredible way and doing great work and probably having good business, but their customer service skills are lacking because that's not what they do. They just do painting or they just do HVAC or they just do whatever, right? And so it sounds to me like the founding principle based on your previous history of what you used to do with College Pro and things like that really surrounds the idea of, customer service in the middle. You've mentioned it twice before you actually mentioned the services.
Right.
And being able to service people in a way, communicate with people in a way that makes them feel serviced effectively, because that's a big problem.
That's right, 100%. And a lot of people say, I did good work, and why is the customer mad? It's like,
Yes.
because they're not worried about the work. You showed up late, you didn't communicate. It can be all solved by some quick communication, but they just pride themselves on what they do versus priding themselves on service.
And that's an interesting fact too, because you're not wrong there. There's that whole thing about how, customers will tell 30 people about their negative experiences and 5 people about their positive experiences. It's just the
Right.
nature of things. People like to complain. Excuse me. And when it comes to that sort of thing, and you go through the process of dealing with someone like yourself, again, the work might be great and it might have turned out perfect, but what's the story they're going to tell?
Correct.
Oh, they didn't communicate with me. And like, well, but did the job get done? Yeah, but you should have heard how he spoke to me when they did it. And it like, ugh. Or he showed up 2 hours late, but did the work get done? Yeah, but he showed up 2 hours late. Like, so that's what sticks in their mind as opposed to the overall experience of what was the goal in the first place.
Correct.
Right. So I love that you're actually taking that to another level, because honestly, that's what's missing. And I don't begrudge, Joe the plumber that's really good at what he does and he just can't keep up with the customer service stuff. That's okay. I don't mean, that's everyone got to make a living, but at the end of the day, I just love the idea of having this one-stop shop, but also built on a foundation of communication and absolute service, which is great,
Yeah,
right?
and so our structure of our business is based around that. So we have project managers and their job is to quote, communicate, make work orders, and then we have crews. They do is do the work. So they do what they're best at and the project manager does what they're best at.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting. I was at I used to work for a car dealership, and I remember they told me at the time, all we want you to do is sell. We'll have someone else sign contracts. We'll have someone else do this, deal with paperwork. We'll have someone else do that. You just go sell cars. And that was that, because that was our function as salespeople, was to go sell those cars.
Right.
Right. And now I don't have to muddle myself down with chasing people for money and whatever else other stuff. That's not my thing. My
Right.
thing is just get the cars out the door. And so it sounds like the same idea. You're creating, standard operating procedures for people to have individual jobs that are their expertise in that moment.
Exactly. And doing what they love.
Yeah, that's great. That's cool. So again, let's dive in a little bit to explain to me like the different levels. So you have painting, obviously, because that's a big one. Plumbing is part of your services, I'm assuming.
Yep. Yep. It's part of our handyman division.
Got it. Handyman division. And tell me more. Like, what other services are you kind of breaking down into now? Because
Yeah.
what I love about this the most is you started from one idea, and this thing has just blown up. It's unbelievable.
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes it gets away from me, but again, it's just about making sure that you have the skilled people that know what they're doing, and then you create the processes around them. And
Mm,
so, yeah, painting is stated, and that's what we keep it divisional. So our painters paint and they don't do other things unless they're maybe lending a hand to somebody.
right.
But so painting is one of the biggest divisions. So we pretty much can paint anything, interior, exterior, commercial. We do a lot of deck staining as well and kitchen cabinet painting. And then within our landscaping division, again, we do pretty much everything from lawn cutting, gardening, sodding, but we also do construction. We'll do interlocking driveways and patios. But again, that leads into deck and fence work. We build pergolas, we build decks. So it's kind of nice because like if you have a project, we often will do everything and people are like we can do your interlock, we can build the pergola, we can stain it when it's done. We can cut the lawn, we can plant the gardens, we can well and we'll bring in different crews, but we'll have one project manager manage that whole thing.
Mm,
Um, and then the other division is the handyman, which again, it they all kind of like feed into each other because painting is kind of like handyman work, right? So,
yep.
the job will be, just a bathroom update is a nice one to do where you just want to change your sinks, change your vanities, update your tiles, and we go in and we can do that type of work. But we'll also come in and fix your gate on your house. And our whole strategy is to create loyalty with our customers. We'll do any size job, whether it's just, a small job that'll take half a day for a handyman to run into and fix a few things, fix some taps, or, a full renovation of a basement or bathroom.
How
And
does one order these services? Is it like an app? Do they call you? Is there an online system? How does one
Yeah,
go about doing
so
that?
we do have a full-time person who takes the calls. So you can call us, you can email us, or you can go online and fill out a form. Then we'll contact you and schedule a project manager to come out and meet you. We meet every customer for a quote so we can really get a good sense of what you're looking for and what your expectations are. And then we sometimes we provide that quote right on the spot. If it's a simple service, we can tell you right there, hey, this is what it's going to cost, and here's a detailed written scope of work. And then worst case, it could take a day or, it was a, massive project. It could take up to a week for us to get that quote if you're going to do a backyard renovation or a basement renovation or something like that.
So more than ever in my industry, we're finding that people are walking into their houses that they're purchasing and buying houses that are more completed than ever before. They'd
Interesting.
like to see, put it this way, I think that there's just a lack of people willing to want to spend money, which is an interesting part. And so they don't want to walk into a house, pay the mortgage, and then have to spend another $30,000 or $10,000 or $5,000 on this, that, or the other. And what I'm finding, and I swear to God, I'm going somewhere with this. I promise. Bear with me. What I'm finding is an interesting synergistic kind of relationship here where, there's an opportunity which you're probably already doing, and maybe you can speak to it a little bit of going into a listing or a seller's house before they list the house with your handyman services, your painter services. Maybe your deck guy needs to refresh the deck. Maybe the fence is falling over in the backyard and that needs to be repaired before the listing goes live. Um, because we know that houses that have more little updates and are cleaner will sell fastest and first, right?
Interesting.
Like, so we were at an older house this week that we just sold off market, hilariously enough, that is in Longmore, which is a, 1960s, 70s neighborhood. The houses are all mostly side splits, back splits, things like that, which are older homes. The house was super clean. it was older in some respects, but it was clean. Because the gentleman kept it in good shape. Now, this wouldn't be a one that would be good for you, but the point I'm trying to make is we had an offer before we even got to market, and it was a really great offer. It's all been accepted and the deal gets done because the house looks so nice, even if it's older inside,
Yeah,
right?
people want to see work and dirt.
People want to see the effort that and the cleanliness and the refreshed kind of feel. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you see that happening in your industry a little bit where you're getting called to go do these things prior to listing houses.
For sure. I mean, working on our business, it's interesting. I find that we follow the entire real estate market. If real estate's good, we've got lots of work. If there's not a lot of real estate, we don't have a lot of work, which is right now. Um, People are not doing that type of thing. So we see it on both sides. We do a lot of work for people, and it's great for us. We'll help you get your house ready to sell, and then we'll help you make your new house look like you want it to. But yeah, I think it's a tremendous opportunity. It is funny, right, that people will live in a house for 30 years and then spend all this money to make
Right
it look
before they
nice
leave.
right before they move out.
We all do it. I mean, I did it when we
Yeah.
sold our house in 2019. All like, but part of my logic was, I had little kids that all played mini sticks and, whatever around the house. I was like, if I fix that bump in the wall now, it's just going to get bumped again. Like there's no reason to fix these things until such time that we need to. And
Yeah,
so the
because
time that we needed to was to make it look great for sale. Right.
right,
And so then we brought people in to patch up all the holes and the things that had gone on in the rooms and whatever else. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right, though. It is pretty funny. But, I would imagine that small repairs and small paint jobs and things like that, just to create a refreshed look, can speak volumes to the back end of the sale. And I can speak to that 100% it would. Right.
for sure. And even just curb appeal, like we can go in, paint your front door, clean up your gardens. Like a little garden cleanup can make
Mm.
a big difference, pulling out all the weeds. That can take like a few hours for a couple hours for a crew to come in and really make that first impression when you're walking in the door really nice too.
That's a really good point, and that first impression comment is right on point there because you know people will walk away from a house naming houses the shitty thing that they saw in the house. So if it's like, oh,
Oh,
the,
yeah.
the Burr Bush house that had the huge Burr Bush out front of the house or whatever, or like, the front door that was broken. Yeah, that the front door broken house. Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll make comments like that and they name houses like that. We do that
Right.
all the time.
Right.
And it's not even us doing it because we don't want that to happen. The client just does it themselves. So
Right.
taking care of those problems, preempting those comments so they come out of there going, oh, it's the house we liked. You remember the one with the great kitchen or the one with the updated bathroom or that beautiful front door. It's super simple. The logic is there. Anyway,
Right.
but yeah, no, okay, cool. So then you also purchased a couple of years ago Mount Nemo Sales and Service, which is that is right on Guelph Line up by number 2, right? Am
That's
I
right.
right?
Yeah, that's right.
And so
Yeah.
what is the
So
function there? What do you do there?
yeah, so is we did have a place on Mainway that we were leasing. And as we grew, we got more equipment. And I had actually a bunch of dump trailers for our landscape division, and they kept getting stolen. No matter what I did, I would lock them with wheel locks and ball locks, and I put GPS trackers, and I ended up getting 4 dump trailers stolen. And I called the police and they, said there's nothing we can do. They're very generalized people. Anyways, it's a long story there that I won't get into. So the police basically said you need to make it impossible for them to access it. So I actually just wanted to buy a property where I could keep everything secure. And this property came for sale. They were selling the property and they were selling the business. So I was like, oh, I want to go buy that property. I can get my landscaping trailers all locked up and secured. Um, and then the business, but I had also used Mount Nemo Sales and Service to buy a lot of my lawn and garden equipment and service it. So I knew the business pretty well, and the owners showed me around. And they're like, "You should just buy this business too." And I was like, "Not interested in a lawn and garden equipment business." And they're like, "Well, let me tell you about it." And it's been around for 40 years. They
Yeah.
pride themselves in their service, their customer loyalty,
Yeah.
and I kind of fell in love with it. Their philosophy was very similar to my philosophy at Absolute, which was customer service, as we already talked about, and they had great staff that'd been there for a long time who loved what they did, and they also cared about customer service, which again is similar to the culture at Absolute. You know,
Mm.
everybody that works with Absolute loves working here, loves the people, and loves customer service. And I saw that similarities in that business. Plus, I could get deals on my own equipment. I
I was
could
just gonna say, why not go straight to the source and just buy the source?
exactly. And then mechanics on staff that can help us get back in business really quick.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so it just made a lot of sense. So I ended up buying the business and the property and moved Absolute. So we are on that property. So we've got lots of space for it, and they work side by side, and they're both great businesses to be in.
So I just want to hit something here that kind of has come up in my brain. The idea of sort of saying yes, and the idea of having a vision and following through with it. This is going to get a little deeper than just home services, so bear with me for a sec. But like, I think the thing that's so cool and so important about your story is that you had created a path for yourself originally, that you were like, I'm going to do this, and this is where my life is headed. And then something popped up, and you were like, you know what? I really like that. And you had some fun with it, and it turned into a bit of a passion for you, and helped you grow. And you shifted your goal set essentially, because you went from this thing over here to this thing over here. You said yes. You were like, yeah, let's go do that. And then that expanded into the next opportunity, which expanded into the next opportunity, and so on and so forth. And I'm sure there was careful consideration behind each of these decisions. Like, you don't just willy nilly, jump in and be like, yeah. And it's like, but the business is losing $300,000 a year. No, that's, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I love the idea and the concept that you saw something that made sense with where the direction of your life was going, whether it was or actually it wasn't, quite frankly, but you liked it, and you actually executed on it. Because I feel like the difference between people that become successful in almost every business and every opportunity, and the people that don't, and or don't even get anywhere off the ground, is the decision to kind of just say yes and move forward, right?
Yep, for
And I
sure.
like the idea that you've really just worked hard to create something out of the just the dream in your head. And the thing that brings it all together is, it sounds like, and you just have a beautiful smile on your face when you talk about it, that you love it.
I love it. I love entrepreneurship.
you know, so, which is sort of half the battle, because, they often say that if you love what you do, you're not really working in the first place anyway.
Right.
And if you love what you do and it is working for you in that regard, it actually will exponentially increase and expand and go bigger. Those people that own that company for 40 years, you know, they didn't they didn't own it for 40 years just because they wanted to do it. And it was like, every day they woke up grinding and they just hated it every day. They owned it for 40 years and it worked for them because of the passion they had behind it.
Right.
And that seems to have now continued with you, and which is a wonderful, actually, legacy for them as well,
It
quite
is.
frankly.
Yeah. And 2.5 years later, the same staff that was there with the old owners is still here with me today.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring you some stuff because I need some stuff fixed at this point,
Okay.
and I'm getting a discount just because of this. I'm just saying. No, I'm kidding. No, it really genuinely, like, it sounds like you've got. I mean, I'm not here to judge you, but it sounds like everything's going in the right direction for you, and I think we need to maybe talk offline about some sort of connection between what we do and what you guys do, for sure,
Oh, for sure.
because I love your energy and I love what you're doing. So. Yeah, no, we're running up against the 30 minutes. I appreciate your time. Is there anything else you want to impart on people? That we're going to put all the contact details below in the chat. So anybody that wants to get a hold or needs a job done or needs anything from you, they can just click below and find your phone number, find your online forums. Everything's there. But yeah, thank you. Like, any last words?
No, just thank you so much for having me on this, and I enjoyed every moment, and looking forward to hearing from anybody who wants to reach out.
Yeah, cool, man. We'll have a good one. And everyone, thank you for watching. We will talk soon, and have a good day.